Gun control by me, Katie Sanford. The term gun control refers to any legal measure intended to prevent or restrict the possession or use of guns, particularly firearms. I believe that more safety precautions should be put in place and more guns would be harder to own. The number of children and teens who have been killed in the United States by gunfire has increased by 50% between 2019 and 2021. In 2019, the number of children deaths by guns was 1,732 in total, but in 2021, this number has risen to 2,590 in total. Why I believe we should strengthen gun control. Reason number 1. When guns are unsafely stored in homes, children and teens can easily access them. There have been hundreds of children deaths from firearms, which some can be accidents and some can't, but they do not know the full danger of a gun, and so this is why they can so easily hurt themselves or someone around them. Reason number 2. In some countries such as Cambodia and the Solomon Islands, citizens cannot own firearms. The military, private security companies, paramilitary groups may own a gun. This has lessened death rates by guns extremely. Reason number 3. Firearms are a weapon commonly used in mass shootings and in school shootings. Since the shootings at the Columbine High School in 1999, 380,000 students and more have experienced gun violence while at school. If we can limit gun control and gun violence, we can lower these numbers and chances. The deaths of hundreds of children and teens. In the United States, unintentional injury is the fourth leading cause of death among infants and is the top cause of death among children aged 1 to 17 years old. Guns are the leading cause of death in America for children and teens. An estimated 4.6 million American children live in homes with unsafe firearms somewhere. These guns are usually kept loaded and unlocked. Because of the way these guns were stored, this has led to hundreds of suicides, accidental deaths, murders, and school shootings. Firearms should be safely stored away in a safe or gun vault, not under your bed or in a drawer somewhere. And definitely not somewhere easily accessible to a child. They should only be able to be unlocked by a key or some sort of special code. Kids will often get hurt or die from unsafe firearms. To children, a gun can be perceived as a toy and something to play with and toss around. Why we should limit what citizens get guns. Rising gun violence in many countries, particularly mass shootings and school shootings, has led many nations to implement gun laws that restrict the average citizen's ability to sell, own, transfer, or possess a gun. Countries such as Botswana, Central African Republic, Japan, and China, etc., have restricted gun laws. In Botswana, the acceptance rate to own a gun is less than 1%, and in Japan, only a few licenses are issued. In Japan, there's an estimated 10 deaths by firearms per year, while in America, there's 48,000 plus. See the difference? Limiting who can own a gun can help decrease the number of deaths, too. If we only issued out guns to military, police officers, and people who require it to do a job safely, the death rate is likely to go down tremendously. There will be fewer suicides, fewer accidental and purposeful murders, and most likely fewer mass shootings. Mass shootings. A day set aside to celebrate love is now marked as the 18th school shooting of 2018. Why does the right to bear arms supersede the right of our children to schools free of gun violence? From Tracy Blackmon. There were more school shootings in the year 2022, 46 in total, than there ever have been since the shooting at Columbine High School in 1999. The year 2022 is right after the pandemic ended, and this is when gun violence started rising again. In 2022, 34 students and adults died while more than 43,000 children were exposed to gunfire at school. Most mass shootings are done with automatic rifles. Since April 18, 2024, there have been 18 school shootings. In Texas, there have been at least 58 school shootings since 2008. That is a 16-year difference. Students and even teachers have begun protesting gun violence, and some teachers have even quit their jobs. This is a chart that shows how school shootings so far this year compared to the same point in past years. My conclusion. This is why I believe we should put more restrictions on more laws on gun control. Now, people will fight back and say that the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution protects individual gun ownership, which is correct. Gun ownership is one of the oldest traditions in America and is protected by the Second Amendment. It protects an individual right to possess a firearm unconnected with service in a militia and to use that arm for traditionally lawful purposes, such as self-defense within the home. But The Second Amendment is not an unlimited right to own guns. Supreme Court Majority Opinion Justice Anton Scalia wrote, "Like most rights, the right secured by the Second Amendment is not unlimited. Nothing in our opinion should be taken to cast doubt on long-standing prohibitions on the possession of firearms by felons and the mentally ill, or laws forbidding the carrying of firearms in sensitive places such as schools, government buildings, or laws imposing conditions and qualifications on the commercial sale of arms." How can I connect this to history? The assassination of Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president, was assassinated on April 15, 1865. This was 5 days after the end of the American Civil War. He was killed by John Wilkes Booth, a famous actor and Confederate sympathizer. President Lincoln was shot in the head. During the removal of Lincoln's brain, a surgeon threw the bullet away, and the whole surgeon team around him just stopped and stared at the bullet that changed American history. Columbine shooting of 1999. The Columbine High School shooting took place on April 20th, 1999. Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris killed 13 people and wounded more than 20 before turning the gun on themselves and killing themselves. By 11:35 a.m., they had already killed 12 students and a teacher while also wounding more than 20 people. Near 12 p.m., they turned their guns on themselves. After investigations, it was determined that they had intended to bomb their school, which would have killed hundreds of people. This is when they began their shooting spree, though, when the bombs did not go off. The guns they used were semi-automatic, which the boys had bought a day before the attack from a backyard sailor. There's a list of all the victims, and then pictures of them to the left. Why did I choose this topic? I chose this topic because it is something I strongly believe in. There are so many deaths that happen due to firearms per year that did not need to happen and could have easily been stopped. So many people die in the United States from guns, and yet the government has not done much to try and stop it or slow it down. Nor will they listen to us. Parents, adults, students, and teachers have begun to protest and try to make some sort of change and add more restrictions to gun laws. Citizens will often push the issue aside and focus on other topics, swearing we're trying to take their rights away, when that is not even part of the goal. By protesting, we always want the shootings and murders to stop. People have lost many family members, friends, classmates, and more to guns, and it continues to happen. Sometimes the death tends to be accidental, but it still counts as a death. We should lock up firearms better with a code or key that a child could not obtain or understand. This would greatly help with the teenager and child death rates. If firearms were not so easily obtainable, the issue wouldn't have grown as much as it has over the years. People have always used guns for warfare and self-defense. It's in our nature and now engraved into our lifestyle. But there is no reason a citizen should have a semi-automatic rifle or gun in their house in an unlocked or unprotected area when a simple shotgun or basic pistol would do for self-defense. But this is why I chose this topic, in hopes that one day these endless murders can be put to an end.